two things. Number one, is The Rings of Power a good TV show?
No.
Number two, can the show improve and get better?
No.
Look, guys, in my review of last week's episode, I said that I'm bailing on the show. I had enough. I'll talk about it when I watch the season finale. But if I can give the Acolyte a fair opportunity and finish the whole thing, I can do the same for the Rings of Power because I was called a hater. Yes, apparently I have joined the bandwagon of people that absolutely trash the show and despise it. I make compelling arguments and then don't stand by it. That was what people say that, But that aside, my view on the show still remains, the fact that before I get into that, let me talk about the episode itself, and the show is at its best when it focuses on Sauron and how he manages to manipulate Celebrimbor. That is the strength of the show. Now, this episode there's an improvement in this episode because it focuses on that and the effects that the rings are having that they have made so far, and especially with King Durin, greed comes into play here. Is it possible that you might change your personality? You might become somebody that you are not. And this is part of why, Sauron has poured all his cruelty and malice into the rings. This is what he wanted to achieve. This is what he was going for. Now, the debate rages on as to should they give 9 rings to men, This is the whole thing looms over this, and ultimately this is important because this is where the Witch King of Angmar comes in, and the wing rates, So this is a big part of that, and the back and forth between Sauron and Celebrimbor is always interesting, But I have never seen somebody that's so gullible, and susceptible to flattery, Like Sauron can say anything, and this guy just gobbles it up easily, he soaks up everything, But it's an interesting dynamic in the show, something that I find interesting, and it's the strongest part of the show. And then when we get to the other stuff, I don't really even want to talk about the other things because it's that lackluster, But that is the strongest aspect of this episode. I'm not going to talk about the negatives. I'm just going to focus on what I think is good, That aspect is good when it comes to the Rings of Power. Now, my biggest problem that I have with the Rings of Power is the fact that the showrunners think it's okay to add in elements, that just have a complete disregard for the source material, It, in all fairness, some of the things link back to the lore, I agree with that, but not in the way it's supposed to. I mean, look at George Martin called out the showrunners of House of the Dragon because they made a lot of changes, I understand that. And he can speak up for himself because he's still alive. Now, in Tolkien's case, that is not possible. But one thing I would say House of the Dragon does very well is the fact that it's still compelling. It's entertaining, it's gripping stuff. Here, you change elements of the source material for sensationalism, to make it entertaining. But it's still boring, The pacing, the issues with the pacing is crazy. Let's just throw in a Balrog, Let's just throw it in there, Let it begin before it started even in the source material, because people want to see this. Let us show them something that links back to Jackson's movies, nostalgia. It's a nostalgia trip. We are so obsessed with nostalgia that we actually forget that storytelling is a very important part of everything. For the casual fan watching this, I understand that that doesn't matter, and you can just enjoy the show for what it is. I am not against that, but if you are somebody that your introduction to this, has been through the books and Jackson's movies, it's very difficult just to accept this, just to be like, okay, this is fine. I like this. So it's always going to be a tug of war. And this is another, way that Hollywood is trying to, push an agenda. I said it before. If you hire people that don't love the source material, this is the end product. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get characters that, are so far removed from what they are in the books that they are almost unrecognizable. The one thing, I keep saying this, the one thing that they got right here is Sauron. Sauron is a badass. He is the star of the show. If they flopped with Sauron, then the whole thing would have been a massive disaster, And this is episode 5, guys. We are getting there. Yeah, slowly but surely, and that's why I'm saying, like, the subplots in the show, they are not even that interesting to talk about. I just want to focus on the main reason why this show has been created in the first place. If they invested in the subplots and writing those characters very well, the show would have been stronger. Could have been, should have been, but unfortunately it's not. And the evidence in where the show is going speaks for itself. Look, I don't hate the show. People said I hate the show. It's easy to hate on something because everybody else is hating on it. But when something is not good, you have to be honest, And this is my personal opinion, guys. No, I'm not trying to sway anybody into, bashing the show. At the end of the day, that's why I created this channel. I created this channel with the idea of I'm going to give my point of view on something. What I say here is not law. It's just what I think, Agree, you don't agree, that's fine. That's fine. That's why we love this thing called entertainment, because we can have a back and forth. We can debate. You might love something and I'll be like, I might love something. You'll be like, are you crazy? And that's okay. That's fine. That's why we love this thing called entertainment, So definitely a much better episode, but the problems and the issues that the show have still remains. Unfortunately, that will be there, but a better episode, focusing on the corruption and the manipulation and all those things. There we go, guys. That's it for me, guys. Please let me know what you think about the show. Are you watching it, or are you just not into this at all? Please let me know. And that's it for me, guys. Catch you on the next video.